Gather round, friends, new and old, and welcome to the POWWOW podcast. We are your hosts, Philip
and David.
And you know what? Should we be honest with the people here, David?
I feel like we should, because if you don't say it now, I'm probably gonna have to admit it later, just to make certain points that I want to make.
Sure. So the beautiful thing about a podcast is that you can go out of order. You can touch things. You can edit things out long before it ever reaches you, the adoring listeners' loving ears. The bad thing about it is that it's recorded. And because of that, even experienced campers such as myself, yes, me, Philip, we just f*** up. That's really all there is to it. I completely dropped the ball this week. The reason why you're hearing this a day late is because of me. And there's nobody else to blame, just me. And I've apologized off the air to David. I feel like I should apologize on air to David. Long story short, David had his stuff together. He sent me his side of the recording because we do record this separately. And then I go to look at where's mine? Is it there? Is it? No, it's not there either. Oh no. And let me tell you, David, honestly, it was the longest time before I exhausted every avenue to see if I could recreate, get that audio file before texting you that voice message of saying, hey, little bit of a problem here.
Well, no matter. We won't bore your ears off. Is that a phrase? I don't know.
Yeah, it could be.
Anymore about that. Let's move on from it. The past is the past. Here, I actually had to take notes on all the things that I said on Sunday that I really wanted to make sure that I didn't forget to say. I have news for you guys.
Okay.
And this was really exciting because it was super fresh news on Sunday, but it's not fresh anymore.
Yes.
So on Sunday night, an hour before we recorded, Italy won Euro 2020, the soccer, right? On penalties against England in London. Super exciting, especially, obviously it's always thrilling when your team wins something. I am half Italian, so that was very exciting. But there are also few things that are as exciting, as fulfilling as England losing, no matter what sport it is. But honestly,
yes.
It's probably football most of all. But yeah, that is just one of the best feelings in the world. So that was sort of like a double whammy. And the other piece of Italy related news. Oh, I'll get to that in a second. You have something to say?
Yeah, as long as it's not a world war, England is free to lose at any and everything.
Exactly.
They're usually on the good side of history. Usually, when it comes to world wars, usually.
Well, yeah. I mean, everyone's had their trip on the bad side. Maybe a few trips on the bad side. Just depends how far back you go.
Yeah.
So the other piece of Italy-related news, Veronica Makin, if you remember, she came on a couple weeks ago.
Yes.
And she was promoting her project Imposter. And the fundraising campaign is now over, and they successfully raised the amount of money that they set out to raise. So congratulations to Veronica Makin. I'm not sure if she's listening, but anyone from that who's involved in that project who might be listening, congratulations. We wish you the best here at POWWOW, and we can't wait to see how it turns out.
Yes, way to go. We're glad that we could help in any small way that we did. Thank you so much.
Phil, what's new with you?
Besides completely messing up the entire episode, not much other than I'm now on week 4 without any AC. It's been an entire odyssey, and I won't bore you with all the details. It's just, it will continue. And I will now be, what I'm looking at is not today, upon which this episode will air, but a week from today, I might have my AC. It's been a personal hell that I've been living in here in Arizona heat without any AC. It's been something, man. How about you?
All good for the most part. Well, if there's anything to share, I think I'll wait until next week to share it.
Fair enough. Okay.
Yeah.
All right,
so we have a very exciting episode coming up, and we've got someone on, and we'll use this to introduce him. Have a listen.
I'm pretty, so pretty, 'cause I'll be out here making waves.
That sound you just heard was Makin' Waves, the first track on the brand new album with the same name by Julian Divizio. Julian is a singer, musician, and songwriter from Australia, currently tearing up the LA music scene with some notable national and international reach as well. We are very lucky to be joined by Julian on POWWOW today for his first interview after the release of Makin' Waves, his debut album. A warm welcome to my friend, Julian Divizio. Welcome.
Hello. Thanks for having me. I'm really excited to be on.
Yeah, now, Julian, you've never met me, but I feel like I know you after how many times, anytime I would go over to David's house, you would be on his TV and I'd be hearing a lot of your songs, some of the songs from the album that you're here to promote today. But I feel like I know you. I feel like we're best friends. So thank you so much for coming on here after this big moment for you, man. It's an honor for us. Thank you so much.
Well, thank you very much. I really appreciate it. Yeah, it's a big step as an artist to release an album. So I'm really pleased to be able to do that and have a chat with you guys about it as well.
I think you guys came inches away from meeting one another, maybe not literally inches, but Julian and my birthdays are literally a day apart. One day's Julian's and then the next day's mine. And last year, Julian had his birthday party on the one day, and then I had a birthday party planned for the next night, and Julian was going to come, but I think, Phil, you were there. Julian was going to come, but I'm pretty sure he was still hungover from his own birthday party. And so
very
that's why he didn't make it.
Accurate.
And you know what? Depending on, actually right now, I think you guys could technically have a birthday at the exact same time. Right now, because of where you are, David, and where Julian is.
Yeah, technically we could, yes.
Fair enough.
There we go. We have to celebrate.
Yeah, we could.
Absolutely. You guys got like a good 6 hours there.
We'll have to FaceTime and do a shot at the same time.
Yeah, exactly. I like that idea.
All right, Julian, let's get down to the hard-hitting stuff. Are you ready? Are you ready for everything in your life to come up and for us to uncover all the dirty, grimy stuff?
Oh, bring it on. I love this stuff.
Starting with some real grime. Julian, you come from the land down under where someone concocted the most bizarre game ever to carry the name football or footy. Can you tell us how you got started with that and how you tickle that side of your brain now that you're living in Tinseltown?
Well, yeah, with football, I guess when you're in Australia, especially from South Australia with Adelaide, it's a very, very much an AFL state. I was born into it really with my family, and I also did play a lot of soccer as well. But yeah, AFL, I was kind of born into it. I had no other choice, and I was as early as I could walk, I had a footy in my hand. So I kind of just love the game, and it's always been a passion of mine. And following the sport, I still do it over here. I actually play in the United States AFL League with the LA Dragons. So that's a lot of fun just to still be able to play the game with a bunch of Aussies and even Americans who learned the game. And I still love watching all the footy games and stuff, even with the time difference. But yeah, it's awesome to be able to play, and I've loved it since I was a little kid.
You've never gotten into rugby?
No, South Australia is not a rugby state. We don't have a rugby team. We just don't get into it. I don't really understand the game. It seems a little bit boring to me.
I find
let's move on.
Yeah, I find the fact that you guys have I find that you guys have footy as soccer is tremendous. That's fantastic. Julian, I think everyone could identify with a time in our life, an event, even a moment that inspires us to do what it is we want to do. What is it that motivates each and every one of us? Something that like motivates each and every one of us. Do you remember what it was that spark of insanity that led you on to this crazy path?
I guess everyone is very different, like you said, when it comes to things that want to make us pursue a dream or a goal or anything, whether it's big or little. But with mine, it's kind of a little different of a story. If you know me as a person or as an artist, very much influenced by a lot of artists, but one of them is Justin Bieber. Really? Through his music. Yeah, through his music and a lot of things. And I was doing a lot of singing when I was young, but it wasn't up until I saw his documentary, his first one, and kind of saw like how everything started and the way he came up and the things he was doing, where I was like, this is actually really something I want to pursue. So that's kind of where it came from, that sitting down in my room back in Adelaide and watching that documentary.
Julian, what was one of the biggest challenges that you faced leaving home and moving internationally beyond the obvious stuff like leaving family and friends behind? Was there something that you struggled with at first leaving Australia and moving to the US?
I guess there was a few things. One of the biggest ones would have to be kind of not starting again, but there is a little bit of that when it comes to coming from a different country where I've done a decent amount of stuff in my music career, coming to another country where I'm not really known at all. So having to meet people and pursue relationships with people and talk about yourself a lot, which is kind of hard for me to do about my past. I'd say that was the hardest thing, is to kind of start again coming from, a different country. But I got to learn that very quickly, and it's been really good so far.
Now, you said it's kind of hard for you to speak about your past. I did not know about that, and maybe that's why David glazed over it. But I was going to ask us, could you just tell us a little bit about your family back home? Are they supportive of you in your career, or were they always supportive of you going down this path? Was there ever a moment of friction between that?
My family is so supportive, which is amazing, and I wouldn't really be where I am without them today. I guess probably there was a moment of friction back home, like when I first auditioned for X Factor, when my parents were a little bit iffy about me wanting to go. And I guess there was that moment where I was like, please let me go, please let me go. And they didn't want to, but they ended up doing it. And then I guess here I am. So if I kind of gave up and they didn't let me do it, then I wouldn't probably be sitting here having this interview with you guys.
Well, that as a very nice segue actually into my next question. So starting out at the beginning of your career in Australia, what was it like getting started? Maybe once you were, I presume you got into X Factor. I know that I've heard some stories about this part of your life, and this actually was a fan question. How long have you been performing?
Prior to X Factor, I was performing most of my life. I had started singing lessons when I was 5 years old. So from then on, I was lucky enough to go to a really nice school back home in Australia that had a very good music part of the school. So ever since I started school, I was in the choirs, in rock bands, anything you could think of when it came to music, I was involved in. So I'd say, 20 years at least, I've been performing. So it's been a while.
David and I both have acting backgrounds, and as such, we know a lot of teachers whose life goal as a working actor was to be on SNL or to be on a Netflix show or feature. What, for you, is something that you have set in your sights that, should you achieve it, you feel like you would have, quote unquote, made it?
I think with everyone, those dreams and those goals change over time and with age and everything, when you learn things about yourself. For me, I'd probably say like being able to do a world tour, whether that is my own or whether that is opening up for a large artist, which has a great audience. So I'd say something like that. When I could jump on a tour like that, I feel like that would be one of those moments where, like, I'm really where I want to be. And then, of course, when I hit that moment, I would pick something else to strive towards. So for me, I just never want to stop. I want to keep going.
Can't stop.
Yes, very, very good segue. I like that.
Yeah. You've had a few songs feature on Netflix shows and Hulu. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, Hulu as well? Or
Yep.
Yeah. What was it like the first time you found out that your songs, and what was the situation where you found out? Did you get a call or an email saying, can we use your songs? Or were you just watching the show and you're like, wait, that's my music? So what was it like the first time you found out that you had songs on such huge shows like that?
The first moment I found out was actually kind of a funny story. I was sitting in my apartment here in LA, and I got a message from my cousin back home in Adelaide, and he just sent me a clip of Geordie Shore, which is a reality show in England. I'm not sure if anyone knows it, but we grew up watching that show. So me and my cousin would love watching that show. We watched all the episodes. It was just one of those things. We love that reality show. And he was like, sent me a clip of the show he was filming, and he's like, dude, this is your song. And it was one of my songs called Party Up. And I was like, wow, that's pretty crazy that, one of the songs I've wrote and sang on and released was put on a show that I had spent years watching. It was a pretty crazy experience. And to get to share that with my cousin was even better.
Very cool.
Yeah, that's amazing. Was there, or are there times where doubt creeps in, where you think about giving up on music maybe, or maybe other things in life you would be satisfied in doing?
I think that every artist, no matter what career in the entertainment industry you're in, goes through those moments a lot more than I think we like to tell everyone else, and even to tell ourselves. That's just something that comes with this industry. It is very, very cutthroat. There are a lot of people striving for the same goal and same dreams. So it is very easy to become down or put down by small things or big things. So there's definitely been moments when I've had doubt, and I've had moments where do I give up? Is this not going to work out? Is it worth all this time and effort I'm putting in? And that's not to say that I don't want to do it. It's just something that comes with the territory. But I've been able to push through it, whether that is just talking to other people that have been through it or just, having that one-on-one conversation with myself. I've been able to push through those moments. So I think a lot of people who are in the industry would definitely agree with me that just comes to every single person who's going after this entertainment goal. I would say even the biggest people and biggest musicians in the world would still have those doubts in their head.
Julian, you've managed to keep pretty busy during the past year and a half, especially as you are an artist, considering how many artists have sort of taken a sidestep from their careers. You've kept pretty busy by comparison in the past year and a half. Done several live streams, many of which I had the great fortune of being present for. But now things are actually opening. Is there or was there any anxiety in transitioning back to a live audience?
Yeah, so through COVID, it was tough at the beginning, not knowing what to do as an artist. A lot of things are online now, which is a bonus, I guess. But when it came to doing live shows, it's something that I pride myself on, that I really like putting on a very good show for people. So not being able to do that was pretty tough. But just working with my management team at Sparrow Entertainment, we were able to, kind of figure out a live stream thing and do many of those. And it was a great moment to actually be able to work with my band and spend more time with them and hone down the songs and just get everything really tight. So that was an amazing thing for me to be able to do all that through COVID. And the live streams are so much fun. And yeah, I did see you there in the crowd there, few drinks while I was singing. No, but it was really fun. But yeah, I guess there is a little bit of anxiety. Even when it came to kind of everything opening up, I had that same feeling of when everything closed down, So
right.
There was a little bit of that anxiety when it came to that. And I unfortunately haven't been able to do a live show yet, but it will probably be coming up next month. So I guess maybe ask me in a month's time how I felt before the show, but I could tell you now that, yeah, I think I will be a little bit nervous having that proper real crowd right in front of me.
This question's just popped into my head now, and I think we have time to squeeze it in here. I feel like we touched on it already, where as artists we're so often unbelievably self-critical, and you put out some work and you're always your harshest critic, and sometimes it can be really good work, but you're just so unsure. But then sometimes you have those moments, you've produced something, you've put your soul into something, and it's like, yeah, it's just an amazing, like, you can feel that it's amazing. Is there a song, whether on this album or a previous release, where you really felt that yeah moment?
I would say probably the title song of the album, Making Waves, and there's another song on the album called Runaway. Those ones where I was like, when I wrote those songs and co-wrote them with an amazing guy called JC back home in Australia, I was like, damn, these are really good songs. And I was super proud. I worked on them a lot, and I was like in the moment with them too. I had a lot of input on them. So it was a good moment being like, this is like really good body of work, and I'm super excited to put them out. But like you always said, we're so harsh on ourselves, and the industry today has all become about numbers. And it's so easy to access numbers as well. So you can sit there and see how many people are listening to you at that point in time. So it is very easy to get very, stuck into that mind frame. But, that's something that you just have to overcome. And I'm so excited to have put out a body of work. And it was a lot of hard work with my team and a lot of stressful nights. And is this going to work? Are people going to like the music? But I'm just so glad that it's out there and people can really just listen to it and understand me as an artist.
Okay, well, let's talk a little bit more about the album Makin' Waves specifically. What has the journey been like in writing, recording, and producing this new album? And I'm going to tag a fan question, a question we got on Instagram along with that. How long have you been working on it?
I guess the album has been coming along for a while. I'd say at least 2 years. So there are a couple of singles on the album that I'd pre-released a couple of years ago. So it is a long process for this one. For me, some artists throw out an album and do it within 6 months. For me, it's been a little bit of a longer process. But it's mostly about just the right timing and wanting to get the right body of work on there. And as a solo artist, this is my first album release. So it's important to make sure that what's put out for people to hear is what I want them to see me as and what I want them to hear me as. So, there was a lot of hard work. There was obviously COVID hit. So I recorded 3 of those songs in my bedroom, where the rest of the songs were recorded in a proper studio. There's that, cool little interesting fact about it, that almost half of the songs were recorded in my bedroom instead of an actual studio.
I know this is your debut album, Julian, but you have had a long history working in music with singles, covers, I'm sure the odd wedding band job to get by. Do you feel like the songs and lyrics that you most connect to, your own or others, are the ones that others enjoy the most as well?
I think that is something that, definitely comes with music and my music, that the most relatable songs are the ones where you put your most hard work into, and the lyrics and everything is very personable. That's how people relate to songs, like I've heard songs from other artists at moments in my life that are about different things. And when you hear that song, you're like, wow, I feel that way. So yeah, I definitely think so, that the ones that I try and write everything very personable. There are some songs that I've released that aren't actually anything to do with what I've experienced, but there are some songs that are. So I tend to relate to ones that they can actually tell that it is a real moment in someone's life.
After listening to your album a few times at this point, and actually also having seen many of your live performances, I would say, in my opinion, and this is just my opinion, you have the ideal blend of Joe Jonas, Justin Timberlake, a little bit of Charlie Puth, and just the sprinkling of Bruno Mars. Would you say, who would you say that your musical influences are, Julian? And I want you, please, to include some of your teenage years as well, because I feel like your punk days may have left a little bit of a faint echo, maybe, just possibly.
Well, for starters, I'm going to say thank you. That's those artists you listed out there are great artists, so that's an amazing compliment. But yeah, I would say definitely those artists that you listed very influential in the music that I'm releasing. Definitely that Justin Timberlake, Bruno Mars type vibe is kind of what.
Yeah, especially with Making Waves. That's very sort of Justin Timberlake / Bruno Mars.
Exactly. It's that fun, that poppy, that little bit of funk you want to make you dance. But I did grow up, like you said, I had a very, very big pop funk phase. One of my favorite bands in the whole world is Fall Out Boy. I could sing every single song off every single one of their albums to you, lyric by lyric. So I do think that kind of comes into more of my live performance stuff as a front man with a band behind me. I kind of tend to look at rock bands and that when it comes to my live performance stuff. So it's definitely still influencing me today.
Julian, with other artists and other bands, we talked about Justin Timberlake, of course he's one, but there always seems to be a struggle with creating music that fans of the original work were drawn to versus evolving with the current flavor of music. We look at Maroon 5, whose sound from songs about Jane is almost non-identical to Geordie, their latest album. Shoot, even someone like Taylor Swift has hit the top of like 4 musical genres alone. I think it would be fair to say that you are very much in the style of pop just based off this debut album. Does it ever appeal to you to try other musical genres, or does pop have a hold of your heart?
Yeah, that's a really great question, and it's something that all artists, once they reach that point, you have to evolve. The music industry, like the rest of the world, evolves every single day. The songs that were out 20 years ago aren't very similar to the songs that are out now. So for me personally, pop is definitely number one for me at this moment, and it's something that I'm working on, and I want to be the best in this genre as an artist. And if it comes to the point where, I've done so well in there and I have to change with the times because you can't stay back because you just get left behind, there are a couple of other genres that I would like to tackle.
Oh, like what?
I do love a bit of R&B and stuff like that. I guess another, Justin Bieber thing is, he started out very poppy, and you listen to his music now, it's very R&B. It even has a trap influence, and he's evolved with the times. His songs are still on the radio now. So he's an artist that has done it over such a long length of time. So that would, kind of be something I could see myself going into the future. But at the moment, I'm really enjoying this style that I'm releasing, and I'm so excited to be able to, show it to more people and play it live in front of people and just show people what I'm about.
Julian, this next question is also a fan question from Instagram. What is your favorite song from Making Waves, your album? And I want to go a step further and ask you maybe for your least favorite song of your album too, if you had to pick one, or, you know, if you love them all, I know that they're all your babies. I definitely, in researching you, I went down this SoundCloud feed. I don't know if you remember this, but it was like 4 years ago, and you have like an entire list of covers that you did that I really enjoyed. But maybe there was like I don't know, I saw Adele Hello there that you hated having to be in front of an air blower and leaves in order to recreate the sound just right or something. Is there something there that you just maybe in the music making process you hated or something?
I guess with this project, I probably couldn't tell you something that I hated. I really enjoyed doing a lot of it. My favorite song off the album would be really close with Making Waves and Runaway. So those two are very, very close to being my favorite on the album. And like I said, I really, really enjoyed everything I did on the album. Like each song I worked with multiple people, or some of them were just on my own. So, you know, being able to work with different producers and writers on each different song was really fun and really a great learning curve as a songwriter and as an artist, to work with different people and different styles and different ways they work. When it comes to hating, I couldn't tell you anything. I guess there are a couple of SoundCloud covers that I did back in the day, and they're still up there, which is great. Those were a lot of hard work. I guess I wouldn't say I hate them, but that was kind of at the beginning of me learning how to record songs on my laptop and releasing stuff. So that was probably the hardest thing about it, and something I might have hated back then was it took me a long time back then to actually figure out how to record a song and make myself sound good, because I was so used to just going into a studio and having someone else do it. So that was probably one of the things I disliked about them. But I learned so much from doing that I'm so comfortable to be able to do that myself now.
Even though I've seen you perform many of your songs live, Julian, including some from this album back during the pandemic. And by the way, to our listeners, if you go on to Sparam Entertainment, that's SPARAM Entertainment, their YouTube channel, you can actually watch a lot of the live streams from throughout the pandemic. Julian's done 5 shows or something, 5 or 6, 7. I got it. It's quite a few.
Yeah, around there.
Live stream shows, and they are fantastic to watch. So I would recommend you guys go check them out on Sparam Entertainment's YouTube channel. But anyway, so I've seen you perform a lot of these songs live, but I believe some of them are much newer. And I'm guessing the answer is no, because I feel like you said this already. But with venues reopening, do you already have any dates set to perform live, perhaps at the Viper Room, which is where obviously Sparam Entertainment does a lot of their shows at the Viper Room. Where can the people come and see you if they happen to live in the Los Angeles area?
So at the moment, I don't have anything locked in, unfortunately, but we are looking at August for shows. So I guess keep an eye out on my socials, and I'll definitely post about it. So, you know, stuff in August is where we're looking at.
We'll try to share it as well once you have a date set. Once you have a poster that we can put on our stories. Lastly, are you still currently writing anything, or are you taking a break to focus on performance?
That's actually a really good question. So at the moment, I've kind of taken a little break off the writing. I guess, you know, putting a lot of hard work into the album, and also, you know, just a lot of work in the back end of it, you know, promoting it and getting the releases done. And I have a really, really great manager that helps me out with all of that. But it is a lot of hard work to get a body of work out. So I've just kind of taken a bit of time off and really wanted to focus on just really promoting this album for the people to hear. And I'll be releasing some more singles off the album over the next couple of months. So I've got a body of work to be released over the next couple of months, so I can take a step back. But I'm actually really excited to jump back into writing as soon as like it pops back into my head, and I just have to get it out. I kind of really want to enjoy myself and this album and playing it live and just experience all the hard work and having people hear it. And then once I've got that feeling back, I'll definitely get back into writing. But at the moment, just kind of taking a step back. But I do get the itch every now and then, so it's definitely coming.
Phil, anything else you want to add?
No, I think I'm good. Julian, this has been excellent. Thank you so much for joining us today. Do you have a few extra minutes here that we can bend your ear and have you play a little, like a couple games with us?
I'd love to. I love playing games.
All right. Well, let's get to our next topic, and we'll come back with a game here shortly. What in the... David, do you feel that? There's something on my... Oh, no, it's just a little bug that just went up and bit me, which means that we are on Bite Me, the fun little segment of this week's podcast. God, I love Bite Me. I really love the intro of nothing else. But I must say, this week, I don't know about you, David. Actually, I do know because we already recorded this before. But I don't know what you have. But I have an extremely spicy Bite Me this week. Why don't we start with yours?
Okay. Mine is God, stop making Fast and Furious movies. That might not even be a controversial opinion, but I feel very strongly about it. Stop. Oh my God. Stop doing it. The last, in my opinion, and I truly feel this way, the last good one was Too Fast, Too Furious. And that was when it was basically an undercover cop movie and not like this weird, ridiculous movies that they are today.
That was the second one.
Yeah. I mean, yes, obviously.
And they're at like 11 or 13 now.
Yeah, there's 9 of the normal ones, right? And then there's Hobbs and Shaw, so that's 10.
Hobbs and Shaw. Are
there any other
there's
spin-offs?
Something else. I think there is. Well, there of course is Tokyo Drift, and that doesn't
Tokyo
count
Drift
the lineage.
Does it not? I'm pretty sure it is number 3.
No, it's canon, but it doesn't count the lineage. It's not like Tokyo Drift 3. They do have a Fast and the Furious 3, I think. So it just doesn't count in the
Someone's
going to
be listening to this and is going to disagree with one of us. But look, Tokyo Drift might have been okay as well because that was also back in the day. But you remember like...
No.
Okay.
No.
Would you remember? Do you remember like it was number 6 or 7? It was like called The Last Ride, like One Last Ride or something. And then since then they've made like 4 more, including Hobbs and Shaw, which you dragged me to the cinema to see, and it was atrocious. It was an absolute atrocity.
David,
one of the most stupid action movies I've ever seen in my life.
Well, are you trying to tell me that you weren't all for the physics, mind-bending physics of Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson being the glue between a semi and a helicopter with only his ginormous biceps holding the two things propelling against each other? You were against that?
I'm not even going to go into that, but do you remember that skydiving scene where they like open their parachutes? First of all, okay, this is another funny thing. I didn't even mention when we recorded this originally. They call it a halo jump. Halo stands for high altitude, low opening. Now, they don't even jump from high altitude when they do the halo jump. So it's not a halo jump. But also, they open their parachute so low, the impact with which they hit the ground is so obviously hard that they would have broken every bone in their legs at least. But obviously they get up and they're fine. So again, just ridiculousness.
It's a flesh wound.
But yeah, they
right.
just get worse and worse. So let's move on.
Well, hold on. If people don't agree with you, what do they got to do?
Bite me.
There we go, baby. All right, my Bite Me of this week's episode. And it's a bit controversial, I will admit, but the Beatles are overrated. I said it. I stand by it.
Yikes.
I still mean it, even the second time around. The Beatles are absolutely overrated. Now, look, overrated doesn't mean that they're...
Here I was hoping that you might have like changed your mind about that and in the past 3 days decided to say something else.
To switch? No, I stand by this, man. Because listen, overrated is not the same as just awful. I'm not saying that they don't have a place in history, that they're not monumental for their time. But come on, man. If you were to place them now today, they'd have like what? One single... I mean, how does I want to hold your hand look today? When people are like, I want to look good for you and thought time and all this stuff. It would not hold up. It just doesn't. I'm sorry. It had its time. It had its place, but it has aged away.
I know this doesn't matter to the listeners, but it just feels like I'm repeating myself because I did already say this, but... You chose a whack week to reveal said whack opinion, because this is the week that we had Julian on, which means that Julian, a musician, Jake probably, Patty's Julian's manager slash producer. He's a huge, big sort of sound engineer, and I've had this conversation because I said, and this I think the Beatles are great because they revolutionized pop music, but what I said was I don't think their songs would be hits today, and even just for saying that, I got what for. So you chose a hell of a week to have this whack opinion of yours, but
Some would
this
call
is
that
a safe
fate.
space. This is a safe space for said wacky, crazy opinions.
But you know what? If anybody disagrees with me, they are more than welcome to come up to my big, brown, beautiful ass and bite me. Our next segment is Once More, and this week we, of course, are being joined by Julian, and he's coming on to help promote his debut album. So both of us thought that we should talk about our debut albums, not that either one of us has released an album or anything, nothing that major. Just more so, what were the first albums that either one of us remember buying? Because of course we were gifted certain albums and what have you, but there's just something different. It's like that first car you get. Maybe we'll talk about that later. But what's the first album you bought? The first CD you went to the store, you went to Target, you went to Walmart, you brought it home and you just put that puppy in and you pressed the disc changer all the time and you just wanted to have play on repeat. What was it for you? What was your first album, David?
Well, I did not go to Target or Walmart or anything like that. If anybody happens to be listening to us from the great city of Bucharest, Romania.
Oh yes, we have a strong following.
Right. I got my first CD ever from the Jollyville. There was I guess there was a CD store.
Do they sell popcorn?
It was like a tiny, tiny mini mall. There was a grocery store. There were some clothing stores. There were a couple restaurants, and that was it. It was like you walk in, and it was like a square, but it was all indoor. It's like a tiny little mall, and it was called the Jollyville. So that's where I got my first CD, and and I talked about this when we recorded our music, Monkey See, Monkey Slaps, I think it was called, episode. And it was Dreaming Out Loud by One Republic. It was their first album, and I absolutely loved that album. I got into it because I loved the song Apologize by One Republic, and that was the Timbaland version, the one that got really popular around 2007. But however, once I had the album, I obviously listened to the whole thing, and I fell in love with the original Apologize, and that actually I prefer for many years after that, obviously, and until now, preferred the original Apologize to the Timbaland remixed, reproduced version. But anyway, I mean, since then, obviously, at that time, I fell in love with most of the other songs on that album. All Fall Down, All We Are. It's just like that album takes me back to my days in Romania, and I still love it. And I would have to say, I think my least favorite song.
And what's your least favorite song? Yeah,
my least favorite song. Well, my favorite song on the album, I don't know. In the end, was probably All We Are or All Fall Down, but Apologize originally. My least favorite was Mercy. I did not like that song, Mercy. Now, though, I think it's a great song. I like every single song on that album these days. Come Home is also a great one. But yeah.
That is good. That aged well. You know what? Your album is completely viable, respectable, aged well, and a good band. I can't say that mine holds any of those qualities. My first album, when I got my first couple allowances, I went to the store and I can feel your eye roll, your sigh.
I've forgotten what you said actually when we recorded this before.
Yes, there's a reason why, because you know who it is. It was John Cena's debut inaugural album, You Can't See Me. Of course, my favorite song on that album is You Can't See Me. What's the worst song on that album? anything besides You Can't See Me and Bad Bad Man. So like there's 8 other songs that are just so ungodly bad. Like not like literally go to like the gas station and the guy handing out mixtapes bad. It is so not good. But I do usher you, David, to it doesn't slap. I wouldn't say that, but it would be surprisingly good for you to go listen to Bad Bad Man from that album. It's better than what you'd expect. That's about it. It's not much more.
I mean, my expectations are fairly low, but
They should be.
I want to shout out another album just as an honorable mention, because later on in my high school, more moodiness coming at you. 1X by 3 Days Grace is an album that I think like pretty much every song is a banger. Yeah, I listened. That was a big album for me throughout high school. I was a big 3 Days Grace fan.
You were moody. Jesus.
Yes. And Jake Corlang, our bass player here on that here for That Slaps, which is coming up later in the show, will attest to that himself. I always, when we were in the band together, I always wanted to play like Linkin Park and 3 Days Grace, and it was like, obviously we can't play those kinds of songs. We do not have the band members or the vocal capability to sing songs like that. Yeah, it was ridiculous, but I did like those. I did like that music.
All right, let's get to the game and bring Julian back here.
Time for a little game, and with that, we welcome back Julian Divizio. And Julian, I actually have a few surprise fan questions that we didn't get to in the interview. These should be relatively quick, but are you ready?
I'm always ready. I love games, so bring it on.
This one comes from, these are all from people that we both know, actually. This one comes from Lynn. Iron Man versus Harry Potter. Who wins?
Oh, what a tough question.
Toughest question of the night, really.
Yeah. I have to say Harry Potter, I think.
Yeah, it's hard to beat a wand. It really is.
Yeah, it's hard to beat a death spell.
That too. He could turn him into a pillow and then just have him as a throw pillow for the rest of his life.
So I think if Harry's smart, he kind of just runs away and just turns around and just says that one spell and he's gone.
Julian, all right. Jake asks, if you could have one Marvel superhero feature on one song on the album, which superhero would it be and which song?
These questions are great because they're all about things I love.
Jake and Lynn both noted that you loved Marvel.
Yeah, very much so. Wow. I would have to say my favorite Marvel superhero is Spider-Man. So
hey, man, that's a good yes. Yeah. That's an answer right there. Go ahead.
I'd love to have Spider-Man jump on. I'd love to have him rap, though. I want to hear Spider-Man rap. Probably something like "Are You Down?" I'd love to hear it. And if I'm going even into more depth, I'd love to have all 3 of them. Just a verse each.
All 3 Spider-Mans.
All 3 Spider-Man. We're talking Tobey Maguire, Andrew Garfield, and Tom Holland, each taking a verse.
Yep.
That's beautiful. It's like a chorus of Spider-Man. I love it. They're all pointing at each other, too, while recording.
Exactly right.
Yeah. All right. This one is from Sophia, and she just wants to know, how are you so talented?
Well, thank you very much, Sophia. I don't really know how to answer that question. It's an amazing compliment, I guess. I just work really hard. I don't really know how to answer that one.
Well, that's a good answer. That's a good answer.
Well, it helps that
that's a good place to stop.
Yeah. Well, you've been in training since you said 5 years old. Good Lord. I mean, yeah. I'm sure a lot of hard work's been put into that. All right. Do you want me to explain the game here, David?
Yes.
All right.
Do.
Fantastic. So, Julian, before we had guests come on for the game, we played a little game we like to call Lyrically, where we are given lyrics of a song with no singing, because David and me, we don't do singing except for karaoke and a lot of booze. So It's just the lyrics of a song that we all should know here. And what it will be is head to head, Julian. So either you'll be facing me or facing David with the other person listing the lyrics. First person to buzz in using their name. So Julian, you would say Julian, I say Philip. Buzz in their name, gets it right, and list the title of the song, not the artist. The title of the song would win, get the point, and we move along. We each have 5 separate songs with which to go with. David, do you have a preference on who faces whom first?
I don't, but I just want to clarify. Are we only going 5 lines deep, or
You know
into
what?
each song?
I went until we got to the chorus. Depending on what song, it has a different
that's
flavor.
mostly true for me as well. But
Fair enough.
I feel like you guys have got these probably on the first line. So
All right, fair enough.
Let's see, I'm a bit nervous.
Yes, Julian, I should warn you, you have nothing to worry about should you win or lose, other than my unrequited wrath should you lose to David. That's all. That's the only assignment
Okay.
you have here today. So, David, why don't you start out reading out your songs, and me and Julian will go head to head, and I'll warm them up for you.
your first one. We don't need no education. We
Philip.
don't need no thought.
The Wall
Phil.
by Pink Floyd.
That's not the correct title.
Okay.
No dark sarcasm in the classroom. Teachers leave them kids alone. Hey, teachers, leave them kids alone. Anyone?
Julian, it goes to you first. Since I
So it's Pink Floyd, right?
it is Pink Floyd.
Yes, it is Pink Floyd.
I feel like you said that surely the title was in one.
I thought so too.
What did you say, Phil?
I said
No
The Wall.
education? We don't need no education.
It's
No.
not that. It is the title of the song is Another Brick in the Wall.
Oh,
Oh.
fair enough. Fair enough.
All right.
Fair enough.
All right. So no points on that one.
points.
No points on that one. We move on to question 2. The club isn't the best place to find a lover, so the bar is where I go. Me and my friends at the table doing shots, drinking fast, and then we talk slow. Come over and start up a conversation with just me, but trust me, I'll give it a chance.
Julian,
Yes, Julian.
it's Ed Sheeran. It's Shape of You.
Yes. Point
Oh,
for Julian.
yeah.
I knew it was Ed
On the
Sheeran, but
board.
I couldn't freaking remember the freaking song title.
It was taking me so long. I was like, oh my gosh, what is it? And I just sang quickly.
I know. I had to literally take my headphones off because I'm like, what the hell is the name of that freaking song? Way to go, Julian. First points on the
Thank
board.
you.
Way to go. Dang it.
All right. This one's probably my favorite of the 5 here.
Okay.
Okay, here we go. His palms are sweaty, knees
Philip.
weak, arms are heavy.
Oh.
Phil.
That's Eminem singing
Yes.
Lose Yourself.
Yes.
Oh.
Damn it. You got in before me.
I know. I was like, I know it's Eminem. What is that name of the song? Okay, cool. Fantastic.
All right,
Tied all up at
it's
one. Let's freaking
tied,
go,
1-1.
baby.
This is great.
Okay, here we go. This is another good one. I want to hold him like they do in Texas,
Philip.
please.
Oh.
Lady Gaga, Poker
Phil,
Face.
I heard you first. Yeah,
Damn it.
that is correct. So it is 2-1 to you, Phil. And this one, probably the hardest of the bunch.
Okay.
I didn't expect the first one to be so hard.
Yes.
but,
Here we go. Julian, if you get this, we tie and we go to a tiebreaker that David has. If not,
Okay.
I win.
Do I look lonely? I see the shadows on my face. People have told me I don't look the same. Maybe I've lost weight. Maybe I
Julian.
lost weight. Yes.
It's Panic at the Disco.
Yes.
Oh.
Come on, count him down.
Death of a Bachelor. Death of a Bachelor.
Yes.
Oh, Jesus.
Correct.
Oh, good Lord.
And then
Way to
we
go.
come to the tiebreaker. All right. Closest to, so this tiebreaker has nothing to do with music. I've had
good.
this tiebreaker prepared for several weeks. And we haven't gotten to it, so it's just remained.
My favorite.
All right, closest to the actual number wins. According to Wikipedia, what was the budget of Christopher Nolan's latest film, Tenet? And Julian, because you forced the tiebreaker, we'll go to you first.
The budget for the movie, I would
And closest
say,
without going over, Julian, just so you know.
Okay.
Yeah, okay. Closest without going over.
137 million.
Okay, Phil.
Wow. I think 137 million. Dang, that would be a lot of money. I either want to go $1 here or 138 million, and I don't know which one. I think Wow, it's an expensive movie. I'm going to go with $1.
Yeah, you probably beat me there. I don't know
Well,
a lot. I don't
actually-
know a lot about movie budgets.
Neither do I.
Well, I'm glad you went in the hundreds of millions and not in the 5 million or 500,000 or something like that.
Tenet was shot on an iPhone.
The actual budget, neither of you went over, which means Julian,
Oh, dang it.
137 million.
Yes,
It was actually $200 million according to Wikipedia.
Wow, I knew it was something crazy. I was going to go like 300, but I'm glad I went low. Yes, I'll take that.
There you go.
Way to go, Julian. Way to go.
Oh,
All right.
thanks. Thank you,
Well
Philip.
played.
Well, Julian, I have you all worked up. Your testosterone's good. You now no longer, you're ready to go. David's been waiting on the sidelines. Here you go. Start
Yep.
fresh again. I have my version of the game. Let's start out. All minor songs. Here, let's go. Do you ever feel like a plastic bag?
Julian.
Oh, I'm going to have to go with David.
would I-
I'm going to have to go with David, who I heard first.
It's Fireworks by Katy Perry.
That is correct.
Damn it.
It's a singular firework, but you know what? I'll
Firework.
give it to you, David. All right. Let's go with 1 point to David. Let's go. We're no strangers to love. You know the rules, and so do I. A full commitment's what I'm thinking of. You wouldn't.
David.
Yes, David.
Never Gonna Give You Up.
Oh,
By
you
Rick
got,
Astley.
By Rick Astley. Attaboy. There we go. There we
you
go.
got me here, Dave. I think you've got me here.
Ah, Julian, you're disappointing me. All right,
I
next
know.
one. Next one. This hit, that ice cold. Michelle Pfeiffer.
Julian.
Julian.
Oh, no. Oh, no. Oh. I know the song. I just can't think of
I know
the
you
name.
know it. Come on, Jules.
Oh.
3, 2, 1.
No, Uptown Funk. Uptown Funk.
He did get
Yeah.
it. Nicely done.
I was singing I was like, girls hate you, hallelujah. What is the word?
What is the dang name of the song? Yes. Michelle Pfeiffer is only in one song that I've ever known. So there we go. All right. 2-1. One more and David clinches his win. Julian, let's get this next one here. All right. Well, Ali Baba, he had them 40 thieves. Scheherazade had 1,000 tales. But master, you're in luck, because up your sleeves, you got a brand of magic never fails. David.
Oh.
Friend Like Me.
Yep.
Yes. By whom? By whom, David?
By whom? By the
Whoa.
genie?
Come on.
Genie.
Who
Will
plays it?
Smith.
No, stop it, Julian. That
Who's
is
the
sacrilegious. You don't.
Robin Williams.
Robin Williams. Come on, Dave.
Oh, okay. I
You're like,
I thought you were trying to ask me who wrote the song. I have no idea. Who wrote
well, actually,
the song.
technically, that should be easy too. That's Alan Menken. He's a freaking legend, Dave.
No, I have no idea. I
You
do not
shut
know.
your mouth. All right, next one.
I'll let you down.
All right. Yes, it's all right, Julian. We'll continue on for posterity and for points. Here we go. My friends wonder why I call you all the time. What can I say? I don't feel the need to give such secrets away. You think maybe I need help? No, I know I'm all right. All right. I'm just better off not listening to friends' advice. When they insist on knowing my bliss, I tell them this. When they want to know what the reason is, I only smile when I lie, then I tell them why. Either one of you?
No.
No idea.
No idea.
Your Kiss is on my list. Kiss on my list by Hall Notes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I would not have
Yeah,
gotten that one.
No, I wouldn't have
Fantastic.
either.
You know what?
That's a song I vaguely know.
Fair enough.
No.
You know what is funny is that, David, I've completely forgotten. So did you. You actually have a skipping stone this week, and I was going to incorporate that
yeah.
into this, but it's too
I
late
would
now.
have skipped this one.
Yes, there we go. There we go. I actually, you know what? Why don't we skip that one? I got another. Okay, there we go. Every time when I look in the mirror, all these lines on my face getting clearer. The past is gone, and it went by like dusk to dawn. Isn't that the way? Everybody's got their dues in life to pay.
Julian.
Yes, Julian.
Is it Dream On?
It is.
Yay!
It is.
I got one.
Yay.
There we go. And the last one. Oh, let's just do this last one just because it's fun. All right. And this doesn't count for any points whatsoever. But Daylight.
Your tiebreaker?
Yeah, no, it's not. It was just it was going to be one of the skipping ones that we could have done. So,
Okay.
all right. Daylight, another morning after. Last night, every night is better. If your man did you wrong and you're in the wrong place.
Julian.
Yes.
David,
Julian.
which one is it?
Firestarter.
There we go.
Yeah.
By the one and only, the immortal Julian Divizio. There we go. All right.
I was waiting for one of them to come up.
All right. There we go.
Fantastic.
Julian, it has been an absolute pleasure for you to join us today. Thank you so much, man. We really appreciate it. Go ahead and promote the album one more time. Where can the people find it? How can they get a hold of you? Yada, yada, yada.
Well, the pleasure's been all mine, guys. Thank you so much for having me. I've had a lot of fun. My name is Julian Divizio. You can find me on all social medias at Julian Divizio on Spotify, Apple Music, Pandora, Tidal, everything. Just search up Julian Divizio. The album is titled Makin Waves. That's Makin Waves. Hit me up on all my social medias. Tweet me. DM me on Instagram. I'd love to have a chat. Thank you so much for having me, guys.
His
I really
DMs are open. All right.
Yeah, you're on Pandora, Julian. We are not on Pandora. POWWOW podcast
Okay.
is not on Pandora.
So no Pandora.
So
We
you're
don't promote Pandora.
already further than we are at this current moment. So thank you so much for joining us, and we move along. And with that, Julian heist of his, I'm going to be getting down to a record of 6-12. Good Lord. David, however, ties himself back up. And hopefully next week, he can get himself into the winning column for the first time in POWWOW history. Woo!
Oh, he slaps like no one else can. Now, this week we had Julian on the episode, and Julian just released his Makin' Waves album, his debut album. And Julian, actually, it's very cool because Julian is actually featured on That Slaps, I think twice, which is very cool. Now, I bet you're maybe expecting me to bring one of Julian's songs, for this week. I had a thought, and that is that Queen has not featured yet on That Slaps, and I think that Queen should feature at least once before anybody features 3 times, so I'm sure Julian can understand that. His songs are already well-deservedly featured on our That Slaps playlist. But this week I am going to bring for you guys The Show Must Go On by Queen. I think I might, at a stretch, might have to push myself to say it's my favorite Queen song. It's hard to say that because there's so many amazing ones. But The Show Must Go On by Queen, and that definitely slaps. Don't do it, Phil.
Yeah, you know what? It's so funny that you're about to say this because having messed up earlier today, the reason why we are re-recording means that out of the graciousness of your heart, you've been so humble and so gracious about this that I was going to offer you on air. Do you want me to change my original That Slaps? I will hold no burden. It's not going to make a comeback if you say no. I won't hold it over your head because of how gracious you were this week and because it's been my mess up. Do you want? I will say what my former That Slaps was if you don't want me to. If you don't want me to hold it in there, but. Do you want me to change it? I have an alternate. Completely up to you.
You know what? I like to think that maybe this is the universe's way of correcting
I think so
the course of the course of That Slaps. So let's change it.
All right. I just as an aside, my That Slaps previously was a Kanye song in honor of Waves, the Making Waves, Julian's debut album. It was Waves by Kanye West because I just was being a bit tongue-in-cheekish. I actually do like the song, but I also thought it was on the theme. But I renege on that particular song. That song will never make an appearance. I can't promise about Kanye, but I will promise that song.
Okay.
And I won't put an emphasis. If it comes around naturally again, I will. But the song that I will officially say That Slaps for this week is going to be something else that's nice and wet. We're going to go with Rain by City and Color. It's today I woke up to a storm. I actually had we had so much technical issues about this freaking podcast, this particular week's podcast, man. And last night we had just a random out of the blue just storm that knocked out my internet for a while. And so rain has been currently on the mind. We've got waves. It's just all wet. Anyways, but rain.
When you said it's wet, I really thought you were gonna say WAP.
Oh God, no. The theme's wet, but not we don't go that wet. Anyways, City and Color, Rain. It actually does really slap. Enjoy it. Enjoy its replacement. If you want to go listen to other songs that might have been on this former selection, would be my guest. Otherwise, it will not grace the podcast playlist. That slaps. Thank you for joining us all the way to the end of the episode. As you may or may not know, we've got some thank yous that we got to get out of the way here before we say adieu. Go ahead, David.
Yeah, thank you to Cass and Crossland for our intro and outro music, and to Jake for always being there to slap us when we need it, for being our That Slaps bass player. And actually, also, Jake is actually also Julian's bass player when he plays live, which I think for pretty much all of his shows for the last couple years. So there you go, Jake, just making waves.
Making waves by slapping everything around him. Yes, way to go. Thank you so much to Tara Amstutz and Josh Hans. Tara, of course, for the graphic design work that she does, the beautiful, beautiful art. And then, of course, Josh, for all those wonderful interludes that we got. I think there's one less this week because we included the song. But we certainly thank him for his contributions to the show. And, of course, thank you to the listener for listening to us on this podcast. If you missed any of our previous episodes, hey, go find us on wherever you found this particular episode. That's probably going to be Apple Podcasts, Spotify Podcasts, pretty much anywhere except for Pandora, because screw you, Pandora. Just give us a listen for the entire catalog. Thank you.
Unless you're listening to Julian on Pandora.
That's true. Julian does have an edge on Pandora. That's the only avenue that we will allow you to not be screwed.
To a hungry bear, your ass is nothing but a sizzling piece of bacon.